Hello everybody, welcome back. My name is Mackenzie Dunn and today we're going to look at a wordless picture book. So now we are looking at the objective for today. It is in gold by Teaching Strategies, so it's objective 18, comprehends and responds to books and other text. A, interacts during read-alouds and book conversations. Today we're going to look at the book I Walk with Vanessa, a story about a simple act of kindness. The author and illustrator is Kara Scoet. This book does not have any awards, but it was a New York Public Library Best Book of the Year. This book was published in 2018, and its publisher is Random House Children's Books. Now we are looking at the rationale. This book is great for children ages 5 to 7 years old. In this book, you will see Vanessa being treated very badly by a bully, and as a result, someone shows kindness towards Vanessa, which then leads the whole community to Vanessa's side to help. I chose this wordless picture book to talk about bullying and what it looks like and how it affects someone. In this book, you will see the main events that unfold with Vanessa. We will look at the characters, which are the people that are in the book, and see what they did to help Vanessa, as well as look at the problem that arises and the solution to the problem. Today, we are going to talk about inferring. Have you heard of this word? Inferring is when we take the clues that the author gives us, as well as what we know in our brain, and then we take both of those and draw a conclusion about what is happening. I think it's possible to make inferences when you have a picture book that has no words. Just a picture book that has absolutely no words. If you said that we look at the pictures, you're right. Some picture books do not have any words, so we look at the pictures to tell what is happening in the story. So what I want you to do when I'm reading this picture book is to look at the pictures and try to predict what you think is going to happen next. Today is Vanessa's first day of school. Her teacher tells her where her seat is, and she goes and sits down. Do you notice in this picture that Vanessa is standing in front of the entire class being introduced to her classmates? So that makes me infer that Vanessa is a new student and feels very nervous being in a school not knowing anyone at all. So you can tell that she is nervous because she's slouched over, she's looking down, she doesn't have any of her schoolwork out like the other children. Have you guys ever started a new school like Vanessa and did not know a single person? How did that make you feel? Right after Vanessa was introduced to her class, Vanessa and her classmates packed up their belongings and made their way to gym. So you can tell in this picture that Vanessa's class is in gym and they are playing with basketballs. I can infer that everyone except Vanessa over here is talking with someone and playing with basketballs because they're around each other and it looks like they're all smiling and having a good time. And then poor Vanessa, she's sitting by herself, not talking with anyone. Bell rang, so it was time to go home. Vanessa started walking home alone. A group of friends are watching a squirrel. Nearby, Vanessa is standing all alone, waiting to cross the street. Just then, Jimmy approaches. He puffs up his chest, balls his fist, and starts yelling at Vanessa. The only person that saw this was the little girl. Jimmy walks away, and Vanessa just stands. Do you notice in this picture right here that there's red shown all around the little boy and Vanessa? So that makes me infer that something very mean was said to Vanessa because of how his face was. There's red, the color of anger, or if someone's mad. And then also, Vanessa's face is really shocked at what he said. He just does not look happy. Smirks as he walks away. And Vanessa just stands there, shocked at what he just said to her. The little girl seen it all and cannot believe her eyes. Vanessa can't move. She just looks at the ground. The little girl feels bad for her. Vanessa begins to run home crying, and the little girl watches her as she crosses the street. So you remember how there's red shown all around the little boy and Vanessa? Well, that can be a connection between what he said to her and then also how she's feeling when he walks away. So you can infer that Vanessa just stands there looking sad while the little boy walks away. And you can tell that she is sad just by her facial expressions. She's not smiling, her eyes are wide, and then her head is looking straight down, not looking at anyone. The little girl stands there and watches Vanessa rushing into her house. So in these two pictures, you can see that Vanessa is just standing there for a moment as Jimmy walks away. And then she starts crying and proceeds to cross the street, running to her house. And you can infer that the little girl sees everything because of how big her eyes are and her mouth is wide open. And she also watches as Vanessa runs into her house. The little girl runs to her friends as fast as she could. She then proceeds to tell them what just happened. You can see in this picture, the little girl runs back to her group of friends to tell them what just happened. And you can infer that the little girl says, Jimmy just told Vanessa, the new girl, that she looks like an idiot just standing there by herself. And no wonder she does not have any friends. Hearing what happened, the group of friends walked home feeling sad for Vanessa. See that after the little girl explained what happened, the group walked in separate directions, sad with their heads down. So you can infer the group of kids were sad that Vanessa was bullied by Jimmy, because all of their heads are down. They're not smiling. They're just walking straight home. The little girl continues to walk home. She's still thinking about what happened with Vanessa. And even by dinner time, she still can't get that thought of what she's seen out of her mind. Ready for bed, she's still thinking. She wonders what she could have done to help Vanessa out. This picture right here, you can see that the little girl changed out of her school clothes that are right here and put on her pajamas. So you can infer that she's about to go to bed at night and the little girl still can't sleep. She looks out her window and notices that Vanessa can't either. Next morning, and the little girl wakes up and starts to get ready for school. As she's eating her breakfast, she has an idea and runs out of her house. This picture right here, you can see the little girl is flying through the air. She's not touching any of the steps, and it really looks like she's flying. She's leaping through the air. So you can infer the little girl is in a hurry running out of the door, because it doesn't even look like she closed the door. I wonder what idea the little girl has and where she's going running out of the house like that. What do you think? Do you have any ideas? The little girl begins to knock on someone's door. Vanessa answers the door. The little girl asks if she wants to walk to school together. Vanessa and the little girl walk hand in hand on their way to school. The little boy runs up and wants to know if he can walk with them too. So they hold hands together and begin walking to school. Just then, two more kids ask if they can join walking to school with them. Kids came running. And more. And even more to join Vanessa on her walk to school. Until there were too many to count that wanted to walk with Vanessa. Finally, they all made it to school. So we see in this picture that the kids that are behind Vanessa and the little girl are all walking forward next to one another. See, here's Vanessa and the little girl, and then all these children are following. So we can infer that the children are starting their day at school. So what we see in this picture is the school. Children all following with their backpacks on. It's daytime, and they're all walking toward the front of the school. Vanessa finally didn't feel alone. She had her new friend sitting right next to her in class. Now we're going to do an activity. So what I want you to do is get out sticky notes. And if you don't have sticky notes, then get out. I'm going to show you different pictures in the picture book. So what I want you to do is write down what the characters might be thinking or saying in each picture. And then we'll share them out. What do you think Vanessa would be thinking or feeling? So what I think she might be thinking is, can I just sit down? I don't like everyone looking at me. Because look at her cheeks. They're really red, so she's embarrassed. What about with this picture? What do you think the little girl is thinking or saying? So what I think she's thinking is, why did he say that? I need to do something. In this picture, what do you think Vanessa is thinking or saying? So I think Vanessa could be thinking or even saying out loud, why does nobody want to be my friend? Or even, why did we move here? In these two pictures, what do you think they're thinking or saying? So in this picture, I think Vanessa might be thinking, what do you want? And then in this picture, I think the little girl could be saying, I saw what happened yesterday with Jimmy. He's such a jerk. I was just wondering, do you want to walk to school together? And then she could potentially say her name to Vanessa and introduce herself. And then here is the reference for the book, I Walk with Vanessa, a story about a simple act of kindness.